Good morning on Balamii Radio. It's Jake de Glanville here. You've been tuning in for the past hour and a half or so. We're now going to switch it up now, and I'm being joined by two long-term friends and guests, Sad Night Dynamite, for a little half an hour interview.
Rock stars.
Yeah.
Is the word.
To name a few more things.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Best friends.
Lovers.
Best friends is
lovers.
a nice way to start, because that is true.
Yeah. Yeah. Best name at the end.
And we're just going to be talking about their sound, their recent release, and then they're going to be playing a few tunes for us, and showing you some of their influences, which hopefully we can learn a bit from, maybe, John?
Mm-hmm. You can learn something for sure.
Yeah.
So if you guys want to introduce yourselves to...
So, want to go first, mate?
Yeah, sure. I'm Archie, half of the band.
Tell them something about yourself.
Goodness. Well, actually, funny story. I knew Jake from a long time ago. We were actually in a band. That's where the music bug was caught. And
you had a taste of the bright lights.
Yeah, we really did.
And line.
Me and Jake, you went down a slightly different route.
Well, for you, it was just you got off the rails straight away, wasn't it? It was.
Yeah, I think we were about 8.
What was the band called?
We had names, Frontline and Caught Red-Handed, but there was like a big red hand.
I was actually terrible, and Archie would turn down my guitar.
Well, Jake was quite a good-looking kid, and I was relatively fat. Very fat, and so what we did is we'd have Jake on stage, we'd turn his amp off, so he would just be there for the eye candy, and I'd be doing all the hard work, and none of the girls wanted me. Yeah,
he's got real talent, and it shows today.
How do I can't match that.
No.
I'm Josh, the other half of the band. I think, I don't remember when I first met Jake. Jakey was, I don't know, probably school. We weren't really friends, were we, Jake? We're not really friends.
We actually hate each other.
So that's really my introduction.
Just butt heads, I would say.
Yeah, two stags that butt heads.
Yeah.
That's what we'd describe ourselves.
And then, in terms of in the duo, because I'm going to start using duo instead of band, because I like that more. Who comes up with what parts of the creative process? Who leads on writing the music? To
be fair, the funny thing is, when we wrote Icy, I feel like we had more set roles. Like we didn't have such set roles.
Yeah.
We would sort of do it, and we still do, sort of just do whatever works at the time. Like when we were writing Icy, it was very much both of us coming up with ideas, coming up with the music, that kind of thing.
Even though that definitely is the case, I would say Josh is more hands-on on melody and like
musical melody rather than singing melody.
Yeah, and I'm slightly more on the production side. Like, I still think that's probably how it works, but we do go both ways. We do both sing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it wouldn't be like, because I know you used to write a lot of music on piano, Josh. So it wouldn't be like you'd start a tune on the piano and then, or it would.
Do we have to talk about that?
Or would it kind of grow together as well?
Well, my Christmas singles have definitely helped.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Make who I am.
They didn't get you bullied, did they? Those
Well, yeah, they did. They did actually, Archie. And whether that is something that you want to, laugh about, or whether it really just shows how cruel people can be. Because
you take none of the blame for those.
Could you give some backstory to the listeners about what these Christmas singles were?
They were just spreading love. I would say it was every year. Everyone's feeling, excited for Christmas, and you need a soundtrack. And so I was trying to soundtrack Christmas, and I did a pretty good job twice. The first one was okay, actually. I remember releasing the first one. People were like, it's just quite nice.
How old were you when you were doing this again? Too old.
Not as young as you'd think. I would say
we're gonna cut now to a little clip of one of these songs, actually.
I've been completely set up
I've
here.
been done dirty now.
Okay.
This is me as well.
I get it. So our mate wants us to come on to a radio show
to embarrass
us, to publicly humiliate us. Give us a chance. Give us a chance.
Just bloody started.
I'm not actually gonna, but I could cut to one potentially. It could be quite funny.
It's a really dark turn there, mate. If you had played that. Anyway, I remember the second one was actually
Your face. That was
I've had
priceless.
enough of this, and also the lyrics were just probably going slightly too far. Everything was off, and luckily you can't find that one.
Yeah,
That's been taken off the air.
Josh did genuinely write a lot of music growing up. Like it wasn't very. It was more piano based kind of stuff, and then I also, did music with Ollie Taylor, made sort of like
Blank.
My New Lane type stuff.
Yeah.
I started actually
Getting into it.
Do you think that sort of dance music sound was incorporated when you were making this stuff slightly, or more production side?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the feel of it, like whenever you're doing it, you genuinely want to get a feeling from it, like a dance track. You want it to hit the right way, and so with all of our stuff, it still has
Definitely
to have that feeling.
Yeah.
It kind of the more up tempo ones for sure.
Kind of to be like what you'd call a drop in dance music. Like I feel like we try and take that idea into our music. Like the idea there are moments where it kind of feels like it is a drop, even though we're not obviously making dance music that matters to us.
And then with BPM, is that something you think about when making a track?
It's funny. Like some people obsess over BPM and will like literally play with a beat for so long, changing the BPM until you get a point where it feels really nice. I think for us, it hasn't been a massive thing. We do think about it now, but we don't overthink it either. Like I think we like to.
Once you start with it and set out with it and start doing melodies, you can't change it really because that's what is stuck in your head. But so that's never happened. But
it makes me sometimes wonder, like if we do miss opportunities, like with a song, like if you change the BPM, it can, and we don't often think about it. It can make a song so much better. Being aware of.
Because I know people that when they'll finish a track will just sit and play on a CDJ and slow it down, speed it up with the actual finished track, seeing if they like it. But I don't know if that's.
Well, that was a good idea. I mean,
that would mean us redoing all our vocals, and that takes about 1,000 years. So
anyway,
it really bothered.
His vocals definitely the longest part of the production process.
100%. I would say personally, like when we're writing the music, I find that relatively like really flowing. Like it can be absolutely like really easy in inverted commas. Vocals much harder.
Yeah. Do you have any tips for anyone listening that's producer-wise on producing vocals, or how you use production techniques to get your vocal sounds?
I would say we're still actually ourselves. We're kind of still at the early points with our vocals in terms of. It's difficult when some people sing and they just instantly everything sounds right, and I think that Archie and I. We have to, especially with the kind of music that we make, and it can be a process to find what works with our voices. I think tips wise.
I mean, it's you were just saying we've done a couple of sessions with like a great guy. We're gonna play one of his songs there in Parsaloo, and you go in the studio with them and they just nail it straight away. Oh my god,
that's just not what we do.
Could do that, but it wouldn't be the same type of music as well, and we do quite a few different voices, and
it kind of means that you end up like we think about vocals a lot, and I think because we have to work on it quite a lot, we have ended up with some nice things like with the vocals and Icy and stuff if we did just sing the way that we speak, it would sound like you have to find your voice.
And then I know you use quite a lot of Autotune as well. Do you think that's useful for your sound?
Yeah, no, that's where you're wrong, actually, mate. Genuinely, how it comes out.
Yeah, really against that, actually. It's artificial.
So that's wrong.
So yeah, move on. No, I think we love Autotune. Autotune,
Yeah.
a lot of the music that we listen to, artists, you know, they
James Blake's.
it's such a it's such a art form in itself, like the way that you can use it.
What it does do is it takes a lot of expression out of it, but you can sort of put that back in with how
you say a word
it,
and perform it, exactly.
Yeah, so that's quite interesting.
I think it's really sick. I mean, it's done. Obviously, there's really bad examples of Autotune, but like, there's so many good ones as well.
Yeah. Should we move on then to your first tune that you want to play for us?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So this one actually is just a bit more of like just something that we're going to get into some of the music that we sort of grew up on, I guess. But this track, Betty, by Pastor Lou, he's just incredible rapper who we were lucky enough to do a session with, and he's doing so well at the moment. But he's a brilliant song, and the production's just sick. So
yeah, very good.
Sweet. Do you want to stick that on now then?
On a pig and that violate who tryna flee and that I was slinging packs, I just need $1 million cash, I just need $1 million cash. How many get stash? Beta I spray then dash. Oh for the money and that, what a blow club, fuck many skins get bust. Oh face of black dumpers on, dingas go ski and that. They like king them frost, pull up on your then blast, did the dirt then scare off, did the dirt then skirt off. They ain't did it like me. They ain't did it like me. Dirty Betty, they ain't better than she. Bow, they ain't better than she. Bow, they ain't better than she. They ain't did it like me. They ain't did it like me. Dirty Betty, they ain't better than she. Bow, they ain't better than she. Bow, they ain't better than she. I done seen a couple things, up in this lifestyle, serving all these fiends. We just tryna eat right, mama she righteous. I came from greatness, I need my cake up. One of them they didn't lay shame, they didn't wake up. They'd rather drink up, I pray my niggas change. Money times them sly, yeah, all I know is patience. Oh I deserve it, how many sleepless nights put in work, yeah. Tryna hit the belly like it's dominoes, solving all these bitches like it's dominoes. I ain't with the drama, this ain't Hollyoaks. Fly out with this pat like dominoes. They ain't did it like me. They ain't did it like me. Dirty Betty, they ain't better than she. Bow, they ain't better than she. Bow, they ain't better than she. They ain't did it like me. They ain't did it like me. Dirty Betty, they ain't better than she. Bow, they ain't better than she. Bow, they ain't better than she. They spray, everyone dash. Everybody dance. What I say, bet you do now. Everything mess you up.
Yeah, no, that's quite dubstep influence, that track.
Yeah, it's just the beat just has a really unique kind of, it's relaxed, but it's also very, I don't know, it's trippy. I love it.
The video is great as well.
Yeah. Was he good to work with? Yeah, or have you?
So nice. Yeah, he was lovely, firstly, and welcoming, but then also just within 2 hours, was just so like professional and just did it straight away. I mean, it was incredible.
He did a rap over actually a track that we've already released, "See Me Sad," which was on our first white label, and he basically took about 20 minutes to come up with all the lines.
I mean, it was mad. And
then just went in, and it's great. I think at some point people are going to hear it. It was we haven't done that many sessions. That was one of the ones that we've done. And yeah, it was kind of one of the first, and we've had other sessions since then when you kind of understand that they're not always like that, you know, like as people will know when they do sessions, if they do sessions, you get good ones and you get bad ones, and that was definitely a really cool one.
Yeah. Have you had any shockers? Obviously, without naming names. But...
Yes.
Yeah, we have.
Well, to be fair, we the music that we used to write, we used to go in for sessions all the time with people. So when we were in a bigger band, a couple more people, and we used to do sessions with different singers.
This is terrible. So we would go in, write the song, and then sit behind the desk. And I remember there was this one girl who made sing this song.
Yeah.
Hours and hours and hours, like just being such. Can you swear?
Because we'd written all the work, we'd written the songs, we'd written.
and we would sit there behind the desk and go, "Can you do that little phrase again? Can you do that?" And you could see her, like we were these sort of jumped up little 18-year-olds, and she was a bit older at the time and a really good singer, and she was just getting so fed up with it.
To be fair, she actually, what was really interesting was quite a big. We can both remember this. She came out and she was actually like, she was a bit older than us. She was about 28 or something. And she was like, "Guys, you need to sing this yourselves if you're gonna be so like picky."
Yeah, picky.
Yeah.
It was really rude to her because she's a singer herself. She doesn't want to be told how to say things and what to say, and even what to say probably. And she was like, "You guys just need to work out how you can sing it yourselves." And after that, we kind of did just go, "This is mad," because we were so, I think, self-conscious about the way that because we were listening to a lot of music that we wouldn't be able to sing over. And it is like I keep saying, it took a long time to find to find our actual voice, like in the music, because it's not easy if you're not naturally like a brilliant singer, which I would say is the case for us.
Yeah, like, for sure.
But it's interesting.
In like that timeline, so you were talking about obviously when you were younger, and how you were doing around 18. What was sort of the lowest point from then to now finally releasing a single which you guys love and are really happy with, sort of 4 years after that?
Good question.
It was a bit, for me, I didn't go to university. My parents were, I think, a bit concerned because I was doing this music which wasn't very good at the time. Well, no, I think people could see some potential.
The thing is, it wasn't like it wasn't bad. It's just like anyone starting out at anything.
Yeah.
It takes a long time.
But for what you're saying, low point, it was kind of being in London, not having any incomes, leeching off parents and friends and stuff, and getting in a bit of a hole of just being like, there's nothing happening, and it was, and then moving back home and stuff. All these things are,
to be fair, it's been very easy,
very easy. But it was just a bit of a, a lot of people have it now, like, well, I don't really know what I'm going to do, and that was probably.
The thing is, we've had Icy we wrote Icy. It was actually one of the first tracks that we wrote and finished together as like this duo, and. Yeah, it was. I think we always just we could kind of had our head down. We knew not to release a lot of the music that we were writing because it's a weird thing. That what you're writing isn't like there. But you're still doing it. So it's kind of a weird thing. And then I think obviously we're still.
But we were very disciplined with it, so we'd still get up and go every day and make sure we did full days. But what we were getting out of it wasn't that fulfilling.
Maybe you played the song, didn't you, to Floyd, your girlfriend?
Yeah.
Once, one of the songs that we'd written, and she just laughed.
She laughed. She got to the end of it. I was singing on it. I think I was trying to sort of be Anderson .Paak, and I was so glad no one can hear it because it is just mortifying. So bad. I remember playing Explorer, and at the end I went, "What do you think?" She was laughing. And so that's a low point.
We spent months on that track. We spent months.
And that was what I had to show. And so laughing, yeah, that was pretty low. Pretty terrible.
Yeah.
Oh, do I really want to do this?
Yeah.
I think it's hard.
We finished 3 songs. I think it was last summer, and one of them was Icy, and then from that we just actually found our manager, they've been great, George, our manager, and the guys at Various, and they basically helped us kind of get to a point where now we have a mixtape, and finished, which is like obviously Icy's the first track. And yeah, it's been great. We've been really lucky, and we've had a lot of time when we just like given to us from our, you know, the way that
do you think then that the labels, obviously being with the big labels, helped refine the image? And when was like the sad night sort of moment where you were like, okay, this is what we want the project to look like, and that sort of thing?
See, that's an interesting one, because it's strange so we ended up being signed to Parlophone, and I think when you're our age, we had the music. We haven't had a lot of. We've sort of thrown into the deep end with the creative side of it, and suddenly you need to have a really strong idea as to who you want to be and be able to articulate it really well, and that's hard. And I think that we found that probably one of the most like challenging things to do recently is just putting our ideas into other people's heads, but also like actually working out if our ideas are any good and stuff like that. So it's a process. We did a really great first video, didn't we, in Prague, which was just fucking brilliant. So fun. And a weird opportunity that was given to us from this director, Will Hooper. And actually we look back on that and it makes so much sense to the kind of the vibe of the
yeah, it does. It fits perfectly.
Yeah, and also the fact that we're kind of then we don't really know what we're doing there, and the whole thing kind of makes sense. And we, you know, like it's worked well. But the creative side of it, you kind of just have to start releasing music, and then the creative will naturally. It has to happen a bit more naturally than planning everything in your fucking brain and going what we are. There's only so much you can talk about that kind of thing.
Yeah. Do we want to move on to playing another tune now?
Absolutely.
If you've got another one for the people.
Yeah. Well, let's do so this one. Everyone will know this.
Yeah.
But I think it's
this is just like the song is Ghost Town by the Specials, but the influence I think this song and maybe a couple of others had on sort of shaping a bit of our sound is it's huge. So
what do you think you lifted from it?
Just, you know what, with there is a song where we genuinely make a reference to it, and so I guess that's like a literal way in which we drew from it. But I think in other ways it was just kind of, Archie suddenly got obsessed by all these kind of English bands of like
not really ska music. I don't actually love a lot of the Specials music. It's just this one particular song which everyone knows is so
it's
good.
Like a cultural song, and that's what I think.
And it does have like a real dark undertone to it, and it's fun, and like it's just like there are some definite things that we've taken from it and now use quite a lot of our music, like the sort of the choir type soundscapes we use in a lot of our music now.
I think also the idea of just how it just became such an iconic song, and is such an iconic song. Like it has its own backdrop. It has like it is more than it's part of a bigger thing, which is just, I think that's what we got drawn to with it as well. Like how can you actually make something that is that fucking good?
Yeah. Okay, sweet. Well, let's stick it on.
on the shelf.
This place is coming like a ghost town.
No job to be found in this country.
Can't go on no more. People getting angry.
Let's leave it there.
Slaps.
That is a slapper. To be fair,
That's a slapper.
That is a slapper. I've just realised that obviously a massive thing in that song is the use of those lars, you know. The quiet.
Also, like it's quite big bandy feeling, which we like to use lots of different.
Yeah, you do have quite a really big sound for just the two of you.
Yeah, we actually like it so much. We just cracked open a gin and tonic. So that's embarrassing. A gin and tonic.
This is going to be airing at 9:30 in the morning as well.
And it's even earlier right now. It's like 7:30 in the morning, guys. So I don't know if that. I'm sort of having an existential crisis.
Maybe just pop it in the bin then,
yeah. And then you're saying about ska music. Do you think because you guys do have a very specific sound that you couldn't pigeonhole into any genre as such. If you were gonna spin off and do something completely different, where would you like to take that? Say in 10 years, once you finish with this project.
Separately, I think we slightly different probably. I mean,
do you know what? I sometimes get I'd make sad music, like pop music, like that sad kind of. But actually, what that kind of feels like to me is just quite lazy. Like not that music, there's brilliant music, but when I go into that mode, it's just kind of quite indulgent. And what I like about doing stuff that is just a bit more fun is you can't really. It's not too self-indulgent, and I think I don't know why I just brought that up, but it's kind of. I think genuinely the point is that genres there aren't really genres. I think to a lot of there aren't really genres anymore.
But like, find with the label, would they ever? Are they very free? Because I know some big labels do like to put.
We're so lucky.
A certain number of artists in certain realms of.
Do you know, we've been really lucky, and I think it's important that this side of the story is told with labels, because labels do get a hard time in terms of people thinking that, you know, you are forced into a bracket. And I think definitely there will be, like, they do just sort of chuck people at the wall and to see what sticks. But we were lucky in that they've been really relaxed with us. They haven't put any kind of creative control over us. They've basically just allowed us to do it.
They've just given us some money, mate.
Yeah.
That's it. And they've also got a really good like team there that is helping us. But it's, you know, it's, I think the most.
Would you recommend then for people listening that if they're sitting on a load of music to definitely look at trying to get with a big label?
If you feel like you won't be sort of pigeonholed, because naturally, like, a label is always gonna try and put you in a bracket. And if you don't know what you want to do, then I would say go to a label, because you will end up probably just being, I don't know. But our situation has been nice, and maybe it's not the case for a lot of people. I would say give it a try and see if the people are actually in it for the music that you're writing, rather than just the idea that you might have a chance. You know, like, people have got really on board with the music rather than the idea of it. So I think we're lucky.
Cool. Do you want to go on to play another influence track, if you've got one?
We can play an influence track. I'm just thinking of the best one. If it could be. I mean, I'm just wary that Pink Floyd for me is a massive influence, but Archie, it's not so much an influence for you, is it?
Mainly because because it's such an influence for you.
Yeah, it just
takes
irritates
up a lot of
him.
our time.
It just irritates him.
You know, it's like someone saying, watch that series, or, you know, you just...
And they talk about that series the whole time.
End up fucking hating it.
And hating me as well.
Josh.
You would hope that someone that loves me would be happy for me, but he's not. But I'm going to play it anyway, actually. Fuck it.
It's fine.
Which one should I play? It could be anything from Dark Side of the Moon. I'll take it all. But so yeah, play the whole thing.
Yeah.
Not a real fan, then.
Put Great Gig in the Sky in.
Okay.
It's that one. It's just, I remember hearing that and just go, that's ridiculous.
Yeah. Okay, I'll stick that on now.
Joe, it's a cool story that the way that song was written. They knew each other. The singer came in to work with Pink Floyd, and she just came in. Apparently, they're quite grumpy. Which you can imagine. Apparently, they were a little bit, I don't know, quite arsey. But so she comes in the studio, and they're like, yeah, just go in there and just give it a go. And she just did that in one take. That's the first take that she did. And she walked out, and they went, yeah, thanks.
Yeah, see, even that in itself is arsey, isn't it?
Thanks.
Like, yeah, go in there, do your thing, and then like, oh yeah, we just use the first take, you know.
I think there was some controversy.
Being quite new in all of that sort of scene, have you found people are like that or welcoming, or is it just very varied?
We do a lot of our, we don't actually spend a lot of time with other people making our songs.
With other people, full stop.
Yeah.
This is why we're not really used to talking to people. So,
but
apologies.
We did have a session with someone, and it was just it was very uncomfortable for everyone in the room. I remember Josh. I
was trying not to shit myself.
Yeah, and that that's not. He actually was trying to not shit himself. And I drank like half a bottle of tequila because I was like, and I was going, does anyone want some? And they were going, no, we got to get up early. And I was going, God, this is going so bad.
We just got back from Prague, which was where we'd filmed the first White Label, and we hadn't had much sleep. Archie had been throwing up
in the toilet on the plane, and it was
whilst I was eating pasta.
Yeah,
and we got back, and we were really excited about the session because it was with a really, really good person, amazing artist, but it just went really badly.
We walked in the room, and he had no idea why we were there, and so we just sat there for a bit, and he was doing his own thing, and then he was like, "Oh, you're the guys coming in, are you?" Like
he'd never heard any of our music. He had never heard of us, and we.
It was painful.
We could have been anyone off the street, and he wouldn't have been.
It was mortifying. It was really bad. But
it was bad. And the worst part is, the worst part. Sorry for shouting. The worst part is that we found out that he also thought it was a shit session.
Yeah. He hated it, which is the final nail in the coffin.
He told his manager, because we actually got a song out of it. That's the funny thing. We got a song out. Quite a good song.
Yeah, it was
quite a good song. Archie was singing on it, and so was his person. And he said, "There's no way I'm releasing that. That session was awful."
Just like, what the fuck?
Talking about like collabs, then, who would be a sort of dream person if you could have sort of a top three? So if the label was like, okay, you can have a session with whoever you want, what would be your top three?
I mean, me and Josh would agree on, I mean, it is so far-fetched, but Kendrick Lamar would be amazing because he is just incredible. But we would have slightly different ones, I think, for the others. King Krul, he won't do sessions with anyone, apparently. For me, I love Young Lean. I think that would be great.
I would... I think to be fair, you said it, like, it's such a... Everyone rolls their eyes when they hear Kendrick because, we all... not when they hear his music, when they hear that someone likes, absolutely loves him. But I think that he just... It was another massive influence for the music, that we were wanting to do music was basically because of To Pimp a Butterfly. I remember Archie literally playing, I think it was These Walls from...
I remember you'd always play albums. I remember, I think the James Blake album, every time we'd go and have a night out, you'd play it on repeat, the whole thing.
True, mate, but
that's pretty rude, actually, Jake, what you just said.
Another time,
Yeah, so, we're going to cut this one now, actually, I think. No, but I think, there's been a number of different, like, influences. I think Kendrick would be one. Obviously, Gorillaz has also been a massive thing. I think you can hear that in the music.
Then obviously, recent single just came out as well. Congratulations on that.
Thank you. Could you clap?
And it's massive, and we're going to play it in a second. But we just wanted to ask about the timeline of its creation and how important you think it is to sit on music.
That song took about, I would genuinely say 2 months, 3 months of solidly working on that every day, which isn't a good thing perhaps. Like it was just like, I think we didn't have anything else to do. So we were just putting that song together. I think Archie and I's process isn't like, everyone has a different process. And I think that ours works for us, but it is also completely ridiculous in terms of like spending time on one song. As in, you know, I think a lot of times that can be a bit...
Once that was finished after those 2-3 months, like how much longer did you sit on it? How much more work? Sort of what's the process, so people sort of understand how it's not just once you finish the track in sort of the studio with YouTube, but all the other stuff that goes along with that.
Up till this like release, up till we next worked on it, it was probably about a year. Then it got mixed. But until that point, like we put it together and then just kind of lived with that our demo for so long. And obviously, when you get the song mixed, it changes it anyway. We had quite a few mixes done for us on that song, but it wasn't quite keeping the rawness of it. But then we found this amazing guy who mixed it. It just elevates
Steve
it.
Sedgwick, shout out.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Has he done much of your other stuff, or was it this one?
Yeah, he's helped us mix the whole mixtape. The thing is, they were mixed by us. Like we obviously naturally mix it because we're producing it and stuff. It was just about like fine tuning it, and he's amazing at that. And that is such a skill in itself. Like we've had other people have a go at mixing it, and they instantly take out, you know, just because they're hearing it in their own way, like something that is integral to us, they'll take out, and he somehow thinks in the same way, and we haven't even ever had to like be like, you know, that doesn't sound like. For a big thing for us is probably having it sound quite raw or messy. And
what helped was we would go, because we know him and we were working in the same building as him for a while, we'd go and sit in on all the sessions and talk about it, which is, you know, it's not unusual, but a lot of people do just send their tracks off their mix, they get it back, and then that's it. But we made sure we were there.
Well, I remember we finished Icy and we played it to Archie's dad. He went, yeah, it's a good album track.
Because obviously it's so amazing. Obviously,
Simon.
Josh, it's so amazing.
I went, fucking hell, Simon. We spent 3 months on that.
Yeah.
And that's what he said. And he was wrong.
Look at me now.
Look at me now, Simon. 2,000 views.
And counting.
But we sent a couple of the tracks out to management. We didn't hear back.
I think it's really important, like you're saying just there, where you showed it to him and he just sort of had one comment. It's really hard to find people that are very happy to give detailed analysis of the music you've made and actually constructive analysis.
Yeah. Well, if it's what you want to hear,
you do need to hear it. To be fair. When someone gives you constructive, I'm trying to think who's given us, like, there've definitely been points where people have gone, right, you. Like, I remember we've had like more with our friends, to be fair, when we play our music to our friends, and they would give quite honest feedback, which is good, which is exactly what you need. I remember like Hugo, a good mate of ours, I just remember him going, it just is a bit shit. Like it doesn't connect with anyone. Like, what are you actually talking about, and what's it all? And I think that's important to get. I remember we heard a story about Damon Albarn doing that to an artist and ripping them apart.
A very successful
artist now, and it's kind of like, it's probably a nicer way of doing it, to be fair, but it kind of helps probably a bit.
Yeah, you'd rather that than someone, you know, just saying,
so rip us apart, please.
Yeah, what do you hate it about? What do you hate about it, mate?
Tell us everything you hate about the song.
I love every part of it.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Especially the spaghetti western at the end.
Spaghetti western.
It really upset me for some reason.
I thought it would.
Cheapen the fuck out of it.
Literally.
I like spaghetti, but I don't know why they're calling
westerns.
I don't know why they're calling our song spaghetti.
It's fusion. I don't get it.
I was very confused when I read that comment. I was like, I feel like he hasn't listened to it that much.
It does make sense, to be fair. It is very like, it is quite Western, quite Tarantino.
Yeah.
We such another fucking like standard reference here, but Quentin Tarantino, Archie absolutely loves.
Yeah.
I hate him. Why don't you talk about?
No, I
Vincent,
don't.
mate? You're embarrassed now. You're closing out.
You just lied, mate. Yeah, no, he's great. I love the spaghetti western feel at the end of the
Should we put the spaghetti western on? Right, here we go. This is Icy Violence, new single from Sad Night Dynamite. Here we go.
Oh, yeah.
Boom. Now give that a second. Okay, just sit now.
Yeah, wait.
Give it a second. Just take all of that in.
Go.
Take all.
Do you know what I mean?
What do you mean?
No, just let it sit for a bit. You know, the anticipation.
Yeah, just
Obviously,
breathe. Just breathe.
I'm gonna
I'm only joking.
This is our first interview, everyone, by the way. So just go easy on us. I know what they're going to say.
Yeah.
I know what they're
Mainly
going to say.
concerned about all of our mates.
It's very difficult for me to get my personality across in a way that people like. So,
yeah, that's tough, isn't it? That is a weird one.
So, yeah, apologies, everyone. Apologies.
Okay, that was Icy Violence, and that's Sad Night Dynamite's new single that's just came out last week, and we're going to wrap it up there. Big thanks to Archie and Josh for coming on and having a chat. Hope you found it informative and enjoyable. Thanks, guys.
It's been lovely. Yeah, thank you for having us, mate.
Thanks, mate.
Really, really nice.
And just so everyone knows, when can they look forward to some more new music in the pipeline?
Couple of years, I think. No,
It's a month, is it?
a month and about a month and
Okay, so is Icy going to sit on an EP or
it's going to be on a mixtape.
mixtape? And how many tracks are on that? Could you say? Or
We actually can't say right now because it's top secret. Because we're still sort of putting the final touches on it. So it's like it could be
who knows,
9 or 10, I would say.
9 or 10?
If my arm was twisted.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
Sweet. Well, thanks a lot, guys. Thanks again for tuning in on Sunday mornings on Balamii. This show is going to be up on SoundCloud and Mixcloud if you want to re-listen at any point to the first hour or to this interview back. Right, lots of love. Jake signing off.